Here's some of the best financial decisions that I made in 2024.
Becoming wealthy is not measured by the amount of money you spend. Getting rich is about the money you don't spend.
Total in savings, a few $100,000.
Okay, so today we're going to be doing a 180 on a lot of the recent topics I put up on this channel. I think we have to cleanse the palate with some good financial decisions that you can make in your life, even though this ends up doing the worst on my channel. But it isn't all doom and gloom here. At least we're going to see some people making good choices and having a really nice life because of it. And we have a wide variety of topics in this video, so hopefully it could open you up to some new ideas that could help you in your own life. We also have some comments from you guys with your good choices from previous videos, so if you want to be featured in a future video, leave it in the comments down below. But we're going to start off with one that's very simple, but probably the most important in your entire life. I know that sounds a little dramatic, but we'll just get right into it.
There are two big mistakes in life. One is worrying about what other people think about you. And the second is believing that other people think about you in the first place.
Yes.
Because no one is really thinking about you. Everyone is mostly just worried about themselves. Because naturally, they're just, they might see you for a second, but then they move on to thinking about their own problem in their own life.
And how many people have ended up getting into debt, making very bad decisions in life just to try to impress others? Of course, any of the high car payments, when you're not even a car person, maybe you just want a nice Mercedes and look like you're rich. Any of the vacations you can't really afford because you see other people on Instagram going on vacations apparently all the time, constantly keeping up with the Joneses and wondering what people think of you, could really just eat away at your entire life, and of course make you broke. And one of you guys agree with this in the comments. This is by far the best advice you could ever listen to, and the only one I truly wish I knew back in my 20s. If I didn't waste so much money trying to convince people of my status, I would be in a much better place nowadays. And I bet that sentiment will be shared by so many people around my current generation and even younger, because it doesn't look like consumerism or keeping up with the Joneses, looking like you're super rich, especially online, is stopping anytime soon. Everybody's just racking up credit card debt, spending money that they don't have, ruining the possibility of a bright future for them. Hopefully that's what my channel does to try to deter at least some people seeing the crazy situations people get into, basically ruining their lives in some cases. So hopefully you guys don't end up making those mistakes.
Everyone overcomplicates personal finance. If you only follow these 4 principles, you're almost guaranteed to do well financially in life. All right, number 4. Don't be silly. Wrap that willy. Don't have kids before you're financially ready. You'll be a lot happier when you're ready versus when you're not. You'll be a lot happier changing that diaper at 3 a.m. knowing that you can actually take care of the kid versus changing it at 3 a.m. and not knowing if you have enough money to pay the next water bill. Number 3, think long term. The chance that you get rich from day trading or side hustles here and there is pretty low. So think about how to advance your career, earn more money, and invest your money over a 10 to 15-year timeline. All right, number 2, get rid of any bad debt. Personal loans, student loans, credit card debt, get rid of it. The interest will eat you alive. Number 1, live below your means. It's simple. If you make $3,000, don't spend $2,800. Get your necessities and then invest the difference. Don't make personal finance harder than it is. It really is simple if you take time to learn a little bit each day.
So we could go through all of it. The first one, of course, not having children until you're ready. Now, people are definitely taking that seriously from what we're seeing online. And unfortunately, that paints a grim future because many don't seem like they're going to have kids at all because of it. Of course, it's very expensive to have kids. And if you don't have the means financially before a child, it's only going to make it worse as soon as it's born. I mean, it could put you in really bad financial stress. The next one, again, is just so on topic for what's happening in today's world, especially with the climate of meme coins, the new wave that's currently happening right now, any of the day trading meme coins. Crazy, basically get rich quick schemes are not going to happen. Most likely you're just going to lose all the money that you earned from saving and working, trying to chase that dream and be the person that you see in articles or Instagram posts that apparently make $10 million in a day from this crazy trade. If those posts are even true in the first place and not just something to try to garner engagement and then more likes and of course followers and money for whoever owns those pages or news sites, anything like that, because almost everything is for financial gain now. The third one we've been over a million times, don't really have to go too much into the bad debt. The interest rates will kill you and be much harder to try to get out of those holes. And the living below your means is just not a thought for many in the age of social media right now. They'd rather go into that debt to have a really nice Instagram page with all the fancy dinners and the cars and the clothes and going on vacations and having a really nice house, you know, the picture perfect life. They'd rather have that than actually be financially stable in their lives. It's just a very sad reality now, honestly. But we have another comment from you guys. YouTube has taught me so much about finance. I started investing and saving, had no idea what a high yield savings account or Roth IRA or 401k was before watching finance YouTubers, and I'm grateful for it. I'm in the exact same boat. I never went to school for finance. I wasn't a business major or a finance major, anything like that. I just knew that I wanted to start making money for myself, and that meant I had to be very financially responsible. There's nobody giving me checks every week or bi-weekly. I had to end up managing it all myself, and I did the same thing. Everything that I know is online through YouTubers, looking at myself on the internet. So if you really want to learn and be financially ahead, you don't need to spend tons of money getting a 4-year degree in some sort of financial field to have this knowledge. Everything is at the tip of our fingers, on our phones, on our computers, anything like that.
So I'm moving back in with my family after swearing I was ready to be independent and have been for this last year. Turns out the real world is a lot tougher than I thought. With my rent in LA for a 1-bedroom being $2,400 and just the price of groceries and balancing college with social media with me trying to get a second job, I kind of realized like this might not be for me, and there's no shame in moving back in with your family.
Now I know, of course, not everybody is lucky enough to be able to do this in the first place, but I think a lot of the sentiment, especially when you start getting out of college and maybe you see a couple of your friends from college or high school getting their house or an apartment, now you think you also need to do the same thing. You need a full-time job and then buy the house or have your own place and barely be able to survive paycheck to paycheck. If you are lucky enough to have family that would help you out, I mean, saving even while you do have a full-time job could put you way ahead of so many other people in your age bracket. Even trying to do everything yourself like she did, but $2,400 for a 1-bedroom. Of course, it's in California, but she ended up swallowing her pride and going back to her parents to be able to save more money. I think some just won't have that as an option. They think that they might be embarrassed or judged by their peers, their friends, and because of that, they'll be living paycheck to paycheck for a long period of time in their life if they could ever get out of it. A comment from you guys similar to the previous clip: my brother who's single moved back in with our parents. It helps him and he's able to help them as well. Now this part is actually a little crazy. My best friend moved back in with her ex-husband after realizing they were both living alone but could save more money living together. Now I don't disagree with that. I bet it's cheaper, but that sounds a little bit too far-fetched for me. I don't think too many people would do that, but they could do whatever they want though. But early in my marriage, after a shopping trip, I'd comment to my husband how much money I saved at the store. He would just reply, if you spend money, then you didn't save anything, and realized, yes, you're right. I know that's a huge marketing tactic. You know, everything seems to be on sale online, brick and mortar stores, and there's something psychological when we see 50% off or any sort of percent off, you know, crazy blowout sale that we want to buy because we think it's a good deal. But if you don't really need it, even spending small amounts of money is still more than you should have. So getting past those marketing tactics and realizing what it's actually doing, just trying to get you to spend even more money because you think you're getting one over on the company, you're getting a good deal, when most likely you don't actually need the product, those companies and those marketing teams end up still winning. Now here we could get into a group of clips that I wish we saw in the news a lot more. It is so much easier to see professional athletes, super wealthy celebrities or influencers driving in the newest Lambo or Rolls Royce. And of course, again, psychologically, we want to be like them. We want to spend all that kind of money and have the nice luxuries, even if we don't have nearly as much money as they do. But quite the contrast for the next couple clips.
I love my minivan.
We know your feelings about minivans.
Yes, I love my minivan. I think it's great. It is wonderful. But I will say the plastic on the side of the seats have popped off.
Oh.
So 2 now. When you get in my van, there's like wires and...
Have your kids been vandalizing this vehicle? I feel like that's a personal problem. I don't think that's on Honda. You know what I mean? We can't blame the good people at Honda for that.
I know, but I'm like, oh my gosh, this like, yeah.
I'm blaming Chuck Cruz. He's been working out too much, just ripping pieces of this van apart.
No, but it's paid for.
That's what matters. Normalize the 10-year-old used minivan. That's practical.
Amen.
So if you don't know who that is Rachel Cruz. That is Dave Ramsey's daughter. So it's pretty safe to say that her net worth is probably larger than most of us will ever see, and she's still driving around in a 10-year-old Honda Odyssey. Now, as soon as those checks actually roll in and you're not faking it for Instagram or something like that, you're really making that type of money, people would instantly want to get a new GLS or the X7, basically some sort of luxury SUV if you wanted to haul around kids, and nobody would ever be caught dead in a 10-year-old minivan, especially if you actually did have money. But if you're not a car person in general and you just want something to go A to B, the better financial decision is probably to get some sort of Toyota Sienna or Honda Odyssey, much more reliable than most of the new products that are coming out from almost all manufacturers. But you never see this in the media today.
I probably spend less than 1% of what I make. And I don't really spend any money for any reason unless it's eating food, unless it's something that's like related to my job.
Do you think that's irresponsible?
What?
Like, do you think spending that little is okay? Because you could spend 2% of the money you make.
And then what would it do?
Completely change your quality of life.
How could that possibly happen?
Okay, invest in a good mattress.
I have slept on this bed for 25 years.
Yep. And I feel like that bed has got to be gross.
I don't know about that. I feel like it's nice. I like the bed.
Get some maids, clean the house.
Okay, so this is a little 50-50 on this clip. If you don't know who this is a massive, massive streamer who does, again, genuinely bring in a ton of money, but he just doesn't spend it. He's not that kind of person. He's not driving around in a nice new Ferrari. He doesn't want to. And it's just not what's portrayed in the media online anymore. Now, he does take it a little bit too far. If you ever have seen him online, he probably should get a maid service, definitely clean his house up a bit, and the 25-year-old bed is served its due. It's probably time to get a new bed. I mean, I had the same bed for about 15 years-ish, though. And I just got a new one when I moved out of my parents' house and came down here to North Carolina. So, I mean, I do know what he's talking about. I just liked my old bed. I didn't need to get a new one. But yeah, he does take it a little bit too far, but you guys know what I'm trying to get out. And here's another Instagram post. Philadelphia Eagles star A.J. Brown shows up to a game in a $30,000 Honda. It's just a new Honda Civic, despite his $96 million contract. If you've ever seen these types of videos with any professional athlete when they're going into practice or a game, everybody drives into the same lot and a lot of people will record what these athletes are driving into, and most of the time it is the Rolls Royce, the Lamborghini, the McLaren, all the supercars. Of course, they're all six figures, insanely expensive. So seeing somebody who actually has a $100 million contract, that's insane. Just driving in a normal Honda Civic, it's basically unheard of now. But I think this comment from you guys really does summarize it nicely. You are the richest when you need the least. Less is often more. If you don't want all the Prada and Gucci and Louis Vuitton stuff that's 4 or 5 figures, it makes your life a lot easier. That means you don't have to make ridiculous amounts of money just to try to have all these special luxuries, which most of the time now designer stuff isn't even that good of a quality. You're just paying for their logo or their monogram or their name on some sort of item now. Thousands of dollars, mind you, but we'll head on to the next clip.
Things that I'm doing in my 20s to get ahead financially. Maxing out my Roth IRA. This is an individual retirement account that is funded with post-tax dollars, but all the gains inside of it are tax-free. And what's inside of my Roth IRA is just index funds because I like to keep it simple, and this is just a method that you cannot beat. And at the time that I'm filming this, maxing out a Roth is only $7,000 per year, which is a really small sacrifice in the grand scheme of things. Living below my means. As I've gotten older and my income increases, I have kept my lifestyle relatively the same. I drive an old-ass car, I don't wear designer. The differences that I make in my income immediately go to saving and investing even more aggressively. And this is just an observation, the brokest people I know always have a car note and wear designer. Remember that true wealth is what you don't see. Focusing on increasing my income. This can look like job hopping, going back to school, getting a certificate, starting a business. But at this point in my life, my mind is focused on how can I make even more money. because the more money I make, the more money I can invest.
I can definitely agree, of course, increasing your income. Now, in today's job market, the job hopping and everything like that is a little seedy. Some people would just consider themselves lucky having a job in this climate, especially in certain areas. But of course, trying to keep your stable job and still increase your salary would definitely help you. The other thing that I do personally, and I definitely advocate for the retirement issue that I've said a million times on this channel, is a Roth IRA, because I don't really believe in Social Security. I think that I'm going to have to do everything myself to be able to actually retire when I'm old, and I think a Roth IRA is a good way to do that. Now, $7,000 a year, I don't think that's too much of a small sacrifice. $7,000 is quite a bit of money, but if you are able to swing it, even less. I mean, the $7,000 is the max you could put in per year. You could put in as little as you possibly want, but anything will help in the future, because I just think retirement for all of us, if you're around my age, 20, 30, 40 right now, is going to be a tough reality when we start getting up into 60, 65, possibly 70 if they increase the retirement age by the time we actually get up there. And another common reality you'll see throughout this whole video, of course, living below your means. If you don't actually need all of this super expensive fancy stuff, it's much easier to live life because your salary doesn't have to be ridiculous just to pay for all of your wants. Another comment from one of you guys: I heard about high yield savings accounts from a coworker. I asked my parents their opinion on me opening one. They had never heard about it before. I made like $200 to $300 a month from interest now, compared to essentially nothing, when I kept my money in a regular savings account. My parents opened one, and now my mom tells everyone about high yield savings accounts. I wanted to put this comment in the video because they talked about their parents. My parents never taught me about finances. They didn't have high yield savings accounts either. Again, I had to learn everything myself. So some people who are financially knowledgeable right now and are having children will definitely set them ahead in life, teaching them the basics very early. How old was I? I think I was maybe around 20, 21 years old when I started becoming financially responsible. But even that, maybe if I was started at 16 years old, I could have been way farther ahead than I am right now.
Your investing should not be determined by politics. It doesn't matter who's in the White House, who's in Congress, or who's the governor of your state. There will always be people who think because XYZ is in office that we're in for the next crash. But if you're investing for the next 15, 20 years or more, none of that stuff matters. Even if their prediction is right, the odds of the stock market coming back after 15 or 20 years are very high based on historical data. But more importantly, people predict recessions and stock market crashes all the time. There's like 17 crashes predicted for every one crash that lasts no longer than a month. So do not get caught up in headlines of what's happening within the next week or the next month if you are investing for the long haul. And if you are investing for retirement, most likely you're investing for the long haul. The people who know the least about the stock market have the most boldest predictions about what's about to happen. In reality, no one knows what the market's going to do tomorrow, next month, or even next year. No one can predict that with any sort of certainty. You are better off buying into the stock market and holding it for decades and ignoring anything that's happening with it. The biggest winners with the stock market are the people who trade the least over the longest amount of time. The choice is yours. Choose wisely.
I think this is a good one to put in, especially in today's political climate. How many comments have you seen that, oh, I want to invest or I don't want to invest because Biden was in office, a Democrat, or now I do or don't want to invest because Trump's in office, he's a Republican. You could be either the most conservative or liberal person on the planet. Odds are, before you end up passing away, whatever side that you don't like will be in office most likely several times before you actually end up dying. So not investing because one side you don't like is in office right now, or you're only doing it because they're in office, seems like you're just shooting yourself in the foot, especially when investing is supposed to be a long haul, even though it doesn't really seem like that with all the day traders and meme coins and crypto going up and down every single day. But with how much of a hot topic political issues are now, it's crazy what some people will do and don't do because a certain person's in office. We have another couple comments from you guys. CDs are also a great way to save too. Credit unions have great options, anywhere between $100 and $500 certificate for 6 months to a year in terms and 4% return. I would say that's probably what you're going to get right now. The issue with CDs is that they aren't liquid. If you need to pull it out early, then there is a penalty. So it is similar to high yield savings account where you get way more than just having it in a normal bank like TD or something like that. But this is money you can't take out, which you could from a high yield savings account. And because of that, most of the time CDs are a higher percent return. Now I have a few that are almost 5%, I think like 4.9, but it's because I did it several months ago. And now, of course, because the Fed rate cuts, the high yield savings accounts have also gone down around 4% right now. So you'd probably get around 4.25-ish if you do decide to take out a CD. And if you have money that you know 100% you're not going to use for quite a while, it could be a way to get a little bit more of a return on your savings.
I just seen a tweet by a grown man saying, did I just go broke buying playoff Ravens tickets? And he showed his account. It was $580 for the tickets or whatever, and he had $27 in his bank account. Listen, as a grown man, please take your finances seriously. Coming from somebody who has touched a lot of money in the early 20s, fucked up a lot of money, taking some risks, and then makes a lot of money again, please take your finances seriously, especially as a grown man. Financial stress damn near can kill you. It can literally shave off years of your life. There are statistics around how a lot of people couldn't endure a $1,000 emergency. Think about how many people don't have 4 figures in their bank account. That is just $1,000. It's literally so many, and it's sad.
Why do you think my goal in life is to be able to retire, including retiring my parents? When I say that, it's not like I hit a certain threshold in the bank account and then I'm just going to sit and play Call of Duty every day until I die. It's just to not have that financial stress. I'll probably work until I die doing something. Maybe it won't make me a lot of money, but at least the check that I would get for my work wouldn't really matter in the end. It's just to alleviate that kind of financial stress. And so many people don't take it seriously, especially in their 20s, because maybe they did get an actual adult job out of college and they're making more than just working part-time at a retail store. And I'll just end up making more money in my 30s and even more in my 40s, and it'll just be easy to have millions of dollars in the bank account. And as we're starting to see, that's just not the reality most of the time. So you need to take this seriously as early as possible, not have $27 in your bank account, but thank God you're going to a Ravens game. If I did that, I wouldn't even enjoy going to the game the entire time because I know that this literally made me broke.
So I had a comment on one of my videos that asked to make a video about the best financial decisions to make when you join the Air Force. This can honestly go for any branch, but I'm just gonna go ahead and get right into it. First, I want to start and say, when you join, you're gonna see a lot of people with the most flashy things. Don't be one of those people. The only people that care if you're wearing a Gucci belt are the other people that are broke trying to see what everybody else has. If you're trying to show a lot, you really don't have much. So my first tip is gonna be use the free financial advisors that are on the base. The reason why is because they're gonna teach you, if you were never taught by your family, they're gonna teach you how to use credit cards, they're gonna teach you how interest works, they're gonna teach you about budgeting, they're gonna teach you about investing, they're gonna teach you about the TSP. TSP means it's a thrift savings plan. It's like a 401k, but for the military.
So this is a topic that I actually haven't gone over on my channel more about the military. Maybe I should do a little bit more of a deep dive. But what I have seen with a lot of the branches, especially in the car market, is that same keeping up with the Joneses, like she said, with the Gucci belt. A ton of military members who just get into the service will end up buying something that they can't really afford. Very common to get bad deals. On top of it, really high interest rates for a vehicle that's depreciating pretty heavily, and they just get raked over the coals, honestly. From my buy here, pay here video, I did see a lot of comments saying the exact same thing, that military members were going to those lots, getting cars that were not reliable and also way too overpriced with crazy interest rates and just losing all of their money. So maybe I will do a little bit more of a deep dive in the future if you guys are interested in that.
Is there one piece of financial advice that you wish that every 18-year-old in America learned before entering the real world?
Yeah. Diversify, diversify, diversify. I feel like an old man screaming off the top of the mountain right now, but everybody wants to ask me, what is the perfect stock? What is the perfect investment? There is no such thing. When I worked on Wall Street, I saw hedge funds blow up because some of the smartest people in the room with billions of dollars of technology and research could not get it right. Like 15 minutes of Yahoo financing, you're not going to know the perfect investment.
Is a slippery slope to start thinking that you could beat everybody else, including Wall Street, all the hedge funds, who again barely beat the ETFs like SPY. A good amount of the time they actually do even worse than just sitting in a mutual fund. But that false confidence of seeing some random guy make $1 million off of Dogecoin or some other meme coin, or even stocks that have gone up a ton like Nvidia, make you think that you could outsmart everybody else and be the next millionaire, when most likely that's just not going to happen. I could say this till I'm blue in the face, but some people just won't understand until they finally end up losing all of their money on a bad trade like that. Hopefully it won't be one of you guys, but some are just a little too far gone.
Here's some of the best financial decisions that I made in 2024. As an introvert, this one kind of pains me, but invested in networking. I went to my first networking event last year, and naturally I'm kind of antisocial, so this was huge for me. But now I truly understand the importance of building a strong network. And moving forward, I want to continue to push myself to go to networking events, reach out to other creators and meet up with them, and just be more social in general. Consistent investing. In order to build wealth in the stock market, it really is just patience and consistency. I've been investing for 8 years now, and investing in index funds is certainly not a get-rich-quick scheme, but it is the tried and true method, and it will continue to be one of my best financial decisions.
So another one saying the same thing, consistent investing, long term, but the networking, I definitely have a problem with. I've said before, the most amount of speaking that I do in a day is to the camera, to you guys when I record these videos. I am definitely not a networking social butterfly type of person, and I know that is very detrimental. It's much better to be a type A outgoing personality because it definitely could help you with your financial future. Maybe finding somebody who needs a position filled and then you're making more money, or you have friends that could push you becoming a better person and in turn making your life better. So I think almost everybody could use some of that advice because it almost seems like everybody's antisocial or introverted type of person nowadays, most likely because of the internet and we feel so disconnected, but it'll definitely help you if you put yourself out there. Now this video is quite the opposite to a lot of the formats we'll see when people will go and interview somebody in the streets and it'll be like, what's your worst financial decision? What's the worst mistake you ever made? This is actually some people with pretty solid savings accounts.
How old are you and how much do you have in savings?
43 and about 20 grand.
I'm 40 and total in savings, a few $100,000 US dollar.
I'm 42, just have about $40,000, something like that.
42, yes? No, 41, sorry. And savings, I have about 50.
41, savings about 200.
I am 49. Yeah. And I have a few tens of thousands in savings, actually.
How I'm old? I'm 48 years old. In savings, in Philippine pesos, around Philippine money, is around 7 digits. Oh, it's 8 digits.
I am 48 and I have over 50,000 in savings.
I'm 45. I have about 5,000.
A little bit different than hearing people say that they spend $80,000 and they have no money because they bought a new BMW or something like that. A little bit of motivation for you guys to start building up your savings accounts. But we'll go to the next clip talking about something we have definitely seen over the past 5 years.
People tend to go into debt when they're desperate or when times are really good.
Yes.
And they go, well, we'll just take out a HELOC. We'll take out the home equity loan. Yeah, sure, get the car payment. We can stomach it with our income. And then they don't make that income anymore.
Right.
There's a job loss. They would need to move for whatever, for family. And all of a sudden, it gets scary because you realize just how exposed you were. What's the old Warren Buffett quote? When the tide goes out, you can tell who's skinny dipping. Yeah. And so the tide's been, I mean, you've been submerged in the water with this beautiful income, surviving, making all your payments. And all of a sudden, the tide goes out and you go, oh my gosh, like this is a scary way to live.
That's right.
We actually had a house of cards situation.
I mean, how many people are underwater right now because they did start making a sizable amount of money during 2020, 2021, around that area, and the money isn't nearly as good now, and the cost of everything has gone up, much more expensive to do the exact same thing, and some people are drowning because of it. And one of the biggest reasons so many people are in trouble right now are because of brand new vehicles. So a little bit of de-influencing and trying to get you to not buy a new vehicle in 2025.
5 reasons you should not trade in or buy a new vehicle in 2025. Number 1. Interest rates on vehicles in 2025 are absolutely ridiculous. With excellent credit, you will have around a 6% interest rate on a new vehicle and 10% interest rate on a used vehicle. The average price of a new vehicle in 2025 is almost $50,000. As of right now, most banks and credit unions are declining 1 in 5 auto loan applications. That means it's possible for you to go into that dealership, do a credit application, have a hard pull on your credit, and for the bank to decline the auto loan after you've done all that and then have it sit on your credit for 2 years. Dealership markups are absolutely diabolical right now. So not only are you spending $50,000 on that brand new vehicle, now you got to go into a dealership and they're going to mark it up by 10% to make their profit plus whatever other stuff they put in there. New vehicle quality is down. I don't know about you, but when I look around at these car manufacturers like Stellantis, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ford, Chevy, they're not doing so hot.
And it only continues to get worse. Now, the only thing that I think is starting to change is the dealer markups on certain manufacturers. I still see to this day in 2025, very popular manufacturers like Toyota, because of their reliability, especially in comparison to other brands, will still have ridiculous markups on the 4Runners, on the Land Cruisers, things that are popular right now, which is also on top of the ridiculous MSRP for some of these trims. I mean, it still is just a Toyota at the end of the day. So I would still definitely hold out for a new car, at least another year or so, unless you have a sizable amount of expendable income. But we'll finish off with this clip.
Becoming wealthy is not measured by the amount of money you spend. Getting rich is about the money you don't spend. And more importantly, the money that you invest. The act of spending money on material items that you can see is the act of making yourself more broke. The biggest signs of wealth are things that you cannot see on a person.
I'd also like to add to that, recently you'd probably see in the news people who are very wealthy, let's just say bad things have happened to them. Many break-ins in their mansions, professional athletes, just the United Health CEO. It's kind of like you're putting a target on your back. If you flaunt all this wealth that you have, showing it off to everybody else who doesn't have it, in today's climate with how agitated everybody is, probably not the safest thing for you to do. But that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen right now, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll talk to you guys later.